Hello, everyone, today, and welcome to today's podcast. We have Anisha Patel today, and it is about podcasting and PharmD, basically the pharmacist. How can they use the power of podcasting? We are going to talk about a lot of brand new things, which is going here in the market. What is the digital growth concerning the pharmacist, PharmDs out there, personal branding, global impact of all of this. I will be having Anisha Patel with me from UK joining, and she is a pharmacist and a podcaster. She has tons of knowledge about podcasting, and she will also guiding us all about the podcast, why we should start podcasting, how we should start it. Is there any benefit of starting the podcast? All you need to know about podcasting. Why is podcasting so big nowadays? We do have some key questions for Anisha as well. And we are just waiting to join the podcast for her. And we will have lots of amazing things to share in today's live. You are welcome to play your part and discuss, join the conversation with us. You have any questions, let us know, and we are happy to address that here in today's podcast. All right, sorry for this waiting, but Anisha is just joining us. I believe there was some confusion about the Zoom link or this LinkedIn Live. I've hosted this with so many pharmacists, and sometimes we do have hiccups like this. Sometimes they're unable to join the link or unable to join the live. Their speakers or mics. There could be some problems there as well, right? It's all live, so that happens. That's okay. But Anisha is joining us in, I believe, just a minute or two. Thank you so much for your patience. And I promise it's going to be a wonderful session today. We have Lucy listening, and we have Japneet here listening. Welcome all. Lucy, I was just looking at your profile, and it shows me here that you are a pharmacist and an independent prescriber, and Band 7 prescribing support pharmacist at NHS Lanarkshire. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, but please apologies for that. In the UK, right? That's very exciting. In my network. Hi, Anisha. It is nice to finally have you here. Hello. Okay, when you unmute yourself, we will be able to hear your wonderful voice.
Sorry about that. I'm in. Sorry, I'm here.
It's
Thank you.
all cool. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing great, wonderful. It's lovely to have you here. How is everything? How are you doing? How's the weather?
All good. Super happy to come on a live. I've been doing so many lives this month, or whether it's on YouTube or on LinkedIn, just doing things differently, and I'm just excited about that.
I know it is very exciting, and it is actually a wonderful thing when you do live and when you talk to somebody. The thing I love about the live sessions is that it is so casual and it is coming straight from the heart, because one thing, it is not scripted. Even if we have like some questions or some things to discuss in the live, still it is so natural, and we are not quoting anything. So I love these sessions, and it's just genuinely talking to a person, and building a really nice connection. I love doing lives.
Do you know what? I haven't done many in the past, and they've always intimidated me. And people who are listening might find that that's really strange to hear when I do a podcast week in, week out, and you see me on video and you see me, speaking on audio. But when I go live, I think it's a combination of excitement, but I also get quite nervous. But I have identified that when I find things hard, I push myself to do them more so that I do get more comfortable with them. So this is where I'm at right now.
Yeah, it's natural. It's very natural. And by the way, I am also recording this live session for folks who can take advantage of this wonderful conversation that we're about to have even later on. And I will be uploading it on my website with your permission, Anisha. Is that cool?
Of course, yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so we can both share it, and then people who are not able to join us, or who are joining us late, can still listen to all of this that we are discussing today. And of course, you're talking about the live session and the nerves. Of course, it takes some courage. I have thought about it, and it does take some courage to actually come live. When I was doing my first live, I'm, by the way, trying to do one live session every week with one pharmacist, which is like kind of cool. I like it. But the first time I was having a live session with somebody, I was very nervous, and I was kind of thinking, what am I going to talk about? What if I say something wrong? I am not a native English speaker, by the way. I am from Pakistan, and I've lived in Chicago in USA. Now I am living in Canada, but of course, English is not my first language. So kind of things like that, and then information based, technical things, and things about being a pharmacist generally. What if I say something wrong? I mess something up and people are listening live to me. What is going to happen? But things like that still happen. You're not perfect. That's understandable. The whole part of it is you are having that courage to actually come and talk about something that you are passionate about. That's the whole reason why we are here today, right, Anisha?
Agreed. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so tell me about yourself. How did you start your podcasting journey? What brings you here as a podcaster? What's exciting about it?
My journey with podcasting started when I was teaching pharmacy students about 4 years ago. And I started teaching at King's College London, which is a wonderful university in London, quite well known internationally. And I was tasked with teaching first year students. And here in the UK, you can start pharmacy straight from high school. which is slightly different to some other countries, and you are 18 years old, straight out of school, going into your professional degree. And a lot of these students are well aware that you can go into retail pharmacy or community pharmacy. They know that hospital pharmacy exists as a career pathway and that it's a very clinical position. You're embedded into a multidisciplinary team. You get to go on ward rounds. You see patients every day. And they also know that you can get roles in the industry, but they are very well aware that finding a role within the industry is a challenging process. And, you know, what they think is kind of the elite of the year group are the individuals who will be successful to get a training post there or a qualified pharmacist post in those areas. So once I identified that they only really saw those three pathways, and they also have a negative perception of retail pharmacy or community pharmacy because maybe pharmacists generally aren't as positive about community pharmacy. It's a difficult place to work. We've had our challenges. There's lots of burnout. I think you also struggle with resources sometimes here in the UK, or a lack of resources in the pharmacy team and an expectation to provide a lot of service. And this really got me thinking about the lack of awareness for students to understand the breadth of career options that are available to them. And the universities here in the UK are still quite traditional. They are mainly focusing on helping pharmacy students to understand the kind of core pathways. But because I've had quite an unconventional career, I've worked internationally, and I've explored lots of different options within pharmacy, talking about my journey really inspired them. And that once they started to get to know me, they were so excited and motivated and inspired by doing a pharmacy degree. And it just got me thinking about different ways that we can approach teaching students and educating them and inspiring them outside of the normal university lectures or attending workshops or going to their yearly careers fair that the university offer. So I wanted to think outside the box, and I wanted to be able to regularly connect with them and educate them. And immediately a podcast came to mind. Because I listen to them, I've always loved them for many, many years. A lot of London students don't live like in central London on a university campus. They tend to live at home with their families, and they travel into university because it's just so expensive. So I know that they're on a train or a bus, and they've most likely got headphones on, they're on Spotify or YouTube. So I thought, well, let me give it a try. Let me start a podcast where I interview other pharmacists from the UK or around the world and see if it helps them on their journey. Now, little did I know that it wasn't really going to be students who were listening to me. Once I started analyzing the data from the podcast platforms where I release my content, I started noticing that it was actually really qualified pharmacists who are loving the content, and people who've got 10 to 15, 20 years experience in pharmacy are the ones who are tuning into my podcast. Then I started noticing that lots of different countries were tuning into the podcast. And within the first year, there was nearly, I think it could have been nearly 100 countries who had started listening, and around 10,000 downloads was my first year. That was my kind of big achievement. And it was a huge achievement at the time because it was something that I didn't know much about. It was something that was unconventional. Not many other pharmacists were doing it at that time. And not many pharmacists even knew what podcasts were. Like, I was trying to promote it organically by word of mouth, and people were like, what are podcasts? So it was really a game changer for me. And the more I connected with people through these conversations, the more I identified that there are lots of people like me who I'm finding through social media, especially places like Instagram and LinkedIn, where they're doing unconventional roles. And it's obviously just snowballed from there. And I realized how much I love speaking to people and I love connecting. And it was during the height of COVID, and this was my way of kind of making connections with other pharmacists because I wasn't able to attend face to face, conferences and things like that I would normally be able to attend. So it was a way for me to connect with people, but it was also a creative outlet when we were in the height of the pandemic and there wasn't much going on in the evenings and weekends.
That's amazing, quite amazing. And I can totally relate. I'm sure your podcasting journey has been longer enough than mine, of course. You can say I just started, but I have had already lots of podcasts with experienced professionals that are pharmacists. And of course, doing, like you said, roles out of the box, doing some very interesting things that a pharmacist could not even imagine, right, in the digital space. So this is amazing, and it kind of gives me a reassurance. Like you said, you had about 10,000 downloads. That is amazing. It kind of gives me a reassurance that it is possible. You can grow your network and your personal brand at a much faster pace by just doing these podcasts, because one, I believe I am building a very good relation with you, Anisha, today by just doing this podcast, because we are speaking heart to heart and exchanging the experiences that we've had. This is one thing. Second, all the friends that have joined me, Lucy, Japneet, Asad, Hamad, welcome today to the live podcast. We are having a good discussion with them. They can join in and they can, share the things that they would love to talk about and listen to us and, growing the network at a much, much faster rate than I would have by not doing the podcasting. And talking about this, there are so many other things that a person can do what they love, and you totally said that you love communicating with people. That's one thing I like too. I actually don't find myself behind the pharmacy counter. I find myself talking to people, sharing their experiences, learning from it, and building a community which I can help. And this LinkedIn has given me lots of success. By the way, Hamad has been and is my mentor for the LinkedIn success as well. He teaches and trains lots of students and people like us that are trying to do something out of the box and really build their own brand, which I'm trying to do now. And he teaches us, and we've gotten a big network now. And now every now and then I have requests and following from people all over the world, from Canada, from Pakistan, which is very close to my heart. People from Pakistan, people from UAE, Saudi, and USA, and now I have people from UK in my network as well. They ask me simple questions like, how can we do this, how can we kind of get our career growth as a pharmacist, what are the things that we can do becoming a pharmacist, and things about the digital media. And it is very rewarding for me because I am helping them with whatever experience and whatever I have learned. This is a very, very rewarding journey for me, I like to say.
Yeah, 100%. There are so many benefits from this entire journey. And I just posted a newsletter today on my LinkedIn profile. My newsletter is called Behind the Mic, and I share a lot about my podcasting journey, tips on how to get started, and different strategies that I've used. And today's newsletter is all about using other podcasts or going onto webinars or getting live every single week with your own audience to help you to organically grow your brand or your podcast. For me, it's specifically my podcast. And this month, I'm attending multiple online LinkedIn lives. And Sanjay, who's my husband, he's encouraged me to also start doing YouTube lives with him, and we're working together to talk about podcasting and the journey of podcasting, and teaching people and educating people how to start their own podcasts through our YouTube channel. So a lot of the time we do, pre-recorded episodes, but I think there is beauty in being able to do things live because of the connection that you get from individuals who are actively listening. And there is definitely benefit in having an audience who can comment and ask questions and engage with you, which is a completely different experience to the way that I normally do podcasting. But it's a great way for me to, again, further connect with the people who are actually interested in hearing from me, and making friendships with people as well, and supporting people on their journey if they are struggling with something specific within the podcast that they're doing. They can ask us questions and we can answer them live. I mean, that's just awesome. And I haven't really experienced that yet, but we've made the decision to go live weekly. And we're going to really try to support people and give them that kind of free value through YouTube and doing things through LinkedIn. But the reason why I'm doing a lot more LinkedIn lives in this month is that I really want to end 2024 strong. And I've got a few targets that I want to reach. And I have found that going on to other people's podcasts or doing live webinars with them, or maybe offering to do a masterclass, I'm doing a masterclass next week, these are opportunities for me to connect with new people who might not know who I am, people who are in your wonderful audience, maybe in Canada or Pakistan, who might not know that Pharmacist Diaries exists. And it's a great way to grow organically.
It is definitely, there is no doubt, and I agree 100% with every word that you said. The pharmacist, still in Pakistan or even in Canada and USA and UK, they have not either met with wonderful pharmacists like yourself, who's doing so many things and going digital. They do not know what power it has. Even when I'm working with my independent pharmacist here in Canada, they are kind of reluctant still in this era to go digital, and they don't feel the need of why they should have their social media pages, or why they should be posting once in a while on their social media pages. So this is something that we are highlighting, and myself as a marketer, as account-based marketer, and things that I'm learning now for digital marketing and guiding them, I kind of have this responsibility to let them know that, hey, you are here, and when you start doing your stuff organically, digitally, maybe some with paid ads, just being out there online, you can achieve some great milestones in in a smaller time frame. Now, I do have a question also, Anisha. With your podcast highlighting diverse narratives in pharmacy, what is some advice that you would give to pharmacists looking to build their personal brand, and also trying to engage with their audience through digital channels? What do you have to say about this? Is it something they should go for?
100%. I think we have such a diverse range of skills as pharmacists, and some of those skills are completely underutilized. And we don't always understand how social media could impact our lives, our professional lives as well. A few years ago, there's no way that I would have ever spent this much time on social media building my brand, my podcast, and trying to, grow what I'm trying to achieve organically, and finding people from all over the globe. And I think there are pharmacists out there who feel that if they don't have a service to sell, or a website, or a podcast, or something to actually give to other people in terms of a service or a product. They think that LinkedIn is a place to find jobs, but actually it's an amazing place to build relationships with people. It's an amazing place to make connections, to find out what other people are doing, and broaden your mindset as to what's happening around the globe from a pharmacy perspective. And when you start sharing your opinion, you start sharing your passions, your interests, and becoming a thought leader in a specific topic that you're really interested in, you will be very, surprised with regards to the feedback you get from the online community. And I found that LinkedIn is one of the most supportive platforms when it comes to growth. And I think a lot of the posts that I make and a lot of the feedback that I get and a lot of the community kind of sensation that I have from this platform, it keeps me motivated and inspired to create more content because it's really helping people. It's really supporting them on their pharmacy career journey. And especially the younger generation of pharmacists or pharmacy students, it's an incredible platform for them to learn what's happening around the globe in a fun format and in a format that they like. They love video, they love YouTube, they love short form content, they love long form, and it really opens their mindset, which is very different to what we would traditionally be doing in our pharmacy journey, especially as students. So I really want to encourage more people to get out there and share their voice. And I don't know if you've noticed in Canada, or maybe when you were in the US or even back in Pakistan, do you feel that pharmacists are quite quiet, like we're quite reserved as a profession? We don't really shout loud and proud about what we do, why we do it, and kind of showcase what we're doing. I have found in the UK and other places that I've lived in the world that pharmacists tend to sit on the sidelines and they don't really say that much. They don't share their opinion. And I want to showcase to people that we should be doing it and we can do it. And there's a reason that we should be doing it, because actually we do have incredible voices and we do so much for patients. We do so much for, the pharmaceutical industry. And I think not many people even know all the variety of jobs that exist for pharmacists out there. And I love that I'm on a mission to showcase that.
Yes, absolutely. And I also want to mention that being a pharmacist, just the pharmacy profession, can be a lot of fun too. It's just that you have to build that kind of, brand and show people that what can you do being a pharmacist, just not like your 9 to 5 job, but there's so many things that you can do. And I have seen your newsletter. I see you have tremendous success with your newsletter, and I wish you more success with that and your podcast journey. That is very amazing that you are starting your YouTube live podcast, and I support you there 100%. I want to learn a lot still about podcasting from you and your channel. So that's great. And regarding your newsletter, I get it every now and then, and I love reading the newsletters that I have, subscribed from my pharmacist tribe. I like it, and there's so much to learn from those newsletters, and I get it, and I kind of try to put together now my newsletter and start my journey for newsletters as well. It's just that you have to build your community and really showcase people that you are capable of much more. Just don't sit in the corner and let your voice be heard. That's one amazing thing that you mentioned. So now you have also practiced pharmacy internationally, and even supported the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. How have your global experience influenced your approach to patient care? And how do you see pharmacists benefiting from expanding their digital presence on a global scale? Should they be doing this?
I love traveling. I love adventure. I love being spontaneous. So for me, traveling and working as a pharmacist abroad is just a dream for me, and I will continue to adventure around the world, whether I work as a traditional pharmacist, my big vision is to be able to quit my 9 to 5 and travel around the world with my children and continue this podcast, but be able to interview people face to face around the world as my job. So that will allow me to travel, to spend time with my children, to homeschool my kids along the journey, and live anywhere I want. And that is just that is the end goal for me. Like, that's the big vision, the big dream, because I absolutely love exploring new places, new cultures, and just being adventurous. It's just who I am. I've been raised this way. My parents are like this. My grandparents are like this. When my grandparents were alive, they did a world tour every single year. So they would leave London in October and they would head to India for the winter months. And then in February, March, they would continue their travels all around kind of Asia, Australia, New Zealand, Philippines, Thailand, so many different places. And then they would hop over to America because their daughter lives there. And then they would eventually come back to London. So they would spend 7 or 8 months of the year traveling every single year. And they did it up until they were like, I don't know, 89. And they did it alone, just the two of them. And I used to join them on so many trips. As a child, my parents are from Kenya and Uganda, and my grandparents were living in Kenya. So every summer holidays as a school child, my parents would send me on a flight on my own or with my brother, and I would spend the entire summers in Kenya, just being adventurous and being exposed to fun, trips to Masai Mara and going on safaris and just, being in the garden, exploring at my grandma's house where there's monkeys and lizards and centipedes and all sorts of like wildlife that we don't get here in the UK. And that has just continued with me into adulthood. And I feel like my traditional 9 to 5 hasn't necessarily allowed me to be the person that I want to be, who is kind of a free soul, free character who just wants to explore the world and do fun things all the time. But my goal with the whole podcast and exploring the globe also links to kind of global health. My passion would be that I am able to monetize the podcast and be able to provide services like one-on-one coaching or a digital course with podcasting, which is all things I'm working on. But once I'm established, I would like to be able to monetize and be able to create passive income for myself and be able to volunteer my services as a pharmacist in third world countries. And my experience in Abu Dhabi, I moved there for love. I moved there for my husband. And I wasn't ever expecting to live there, but it was such an adventure. The job that I had was very much outside of what I expected to be doing. My initial thoughts were to start a hospital pharmacy job. That's where I started my journey in the UK, and I expected to be a specialist pharmacist. That was my trajectory. That was my initial career plan. But it was very difficult to find a clinical role there. Hospitals tend to have very limited numbers of clinical pharmacists in comparison to the UK, so finding a job was quite challenging in the hospital setting. And this opportunity came up with National Ambulance, working in emergency services and working with paramedics and ambulance. It's an ambulance organisation, and building the services, building my own pharmacy, importing drugs from all over the world. And part of that was the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix contract. And I wasn't patient facing for multiple years in that job. I went from a very junior pharmacist role to a leader, to a manager, to someone who makes some really incredible decisions. And part of the journey was changing law for the country to allow paramedics to have access and administer drugs on ambulances, because prior to working for the company, they weren't legally allowed to use medicines, so they were basically a transport service. So to be part of that change for the country and the change for that company was just an incredible experience. And this is where I learned a lot about education and training, project management, becoming a leader, what my leadership style was, and I completely left a patient-facing role. And I genuinely really missed patients. It was one of the reasons that I became a pharmacist in the first place. And I transitioned over to Cleveland Clinic, who are an American hospital by background, but they opened up a hospital in Abu Dhabi, and I worked in the outpatient department with a massive team, and we covered a 24-hour service. And with the differences in kind of healthcare being a private system, working with medical private insurance, and a completely different culture and mindset when it comes to health and medicines was a really big, quite a big culture shock for me, but one that's really helped me to shift my kind of experiences in terms of what pharmacy has to offer. I loved learning about the different ways of healthcare in different countries. I really explored learning more Arabic and trying to counsel patients, whether it was in writing a few basic words in Arabic on labels or trying to explain to patients how to use their medicines in Arabic. It was very basic, but I was able to do things. But it was also quite frustrating because I couldn't do counselling on methotrexate or warfarin as an example. It was just too challenging for me to communicate. So it was quite frustrating that I would have to sit and wait for somebody to help me to be able to do that. So it was different working there, and I absolutely loved the experience. I learned a lot about also building a hospital from the ground up and building services, building a team, working with pharmacists from all over the globe and having really different personalities within the team, and we've all come from different settings where there's been different policies and procedures, so there was a lot of personality clash, but in a great way and a fun way. But we were quite a family, so that entire 5 years that I lived there changed who I am. It's made me who I've become today because it was just so different to what I was expecting, so different to what I'm used to. And it gave me a lot of confidence in my journey to believe that I can do so much more than what I ever expected to achieve as well.
Yeah, that's very wonderful. And you're talking about your experience in Abu Dhabi, and I have also stayed there in the UAE briefly for just about 6 months, and my story has been like your story because I was living there for my husband and with my husband there. But because it was just like a brief period of time, I didn't really go around and get a job there. We were just staying there exploring, and my husband was working there in IT, and that was quite a wonderful experience for me. And then we came to Canada. But then I just want to add that when you have spent like 5 years there, that's wonderful. And I believe now Anisha Patel is here teaching you about podcasting. You can have lots of friends and fans from Abu Dhabi that would like to learn a lot about your journey, and how can they can upgrade their skills, and how can, if they want to start a podcast, how can they do that. So this is a brilliant idea that you are going to have lots of people from Abu Dhabi joining you on your mission, and you should totally monetize it, and because you are providing some value. And what I have learned is that people, when they try to learn something for free, they would still try to get that learning, but they are not so serious about it. When it comes to money and they pay a dime for something, they are going to be more serious and say, hey, I have spent something, so I better get good understanding of the subject that I'm learning. So this is my 2 cents about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point to bring up. I mean, number one, you're right. Having lived in other countries is really going to help me and has helped me with my podcast growth, because I can see that a lot of my downloads do come from the Middle East. And next week, the masterclass that I'm actually teaching on podcasting is through a network that I'm aware of because I lived in Abu Dhabi. It's called IVPN. and they've got thousands of pharmacists as part of their network, but they have branched out into entrepreneurship as one of their sort of subgroups. And there's, I think, around 1,500 pharmacists who are members of that group who are invited to come to the masterclass. So hopefully lots of people will show up. Hopefully it's lots of new people that I don't know who will now learn more about me, my podcast, my journey, and also figure out whether or not they want to start a podcast. One of my really good friends in Abu Dhabi has recently started his podcast. His name is Adil Al Asi, and he is really passionate about procurement and supply chain, and he has started a video podcast which he posts about now on LinkedIn, which is so exciting to see that there's someone else kind of like following in my footsteps and sharing their voice with a massive audience as well, because his network is huge. So I'm really excited to see how his growth is going to expand from there. And on the topic of kind of digital marketing, personal branding, when you talk about giving away content for free, I started a community called Behind the Mic, which is off social media. It's my own kind of membership community. And I decided, and this is all part of entrepreneurship and learning more about being an entrepreneur and making mistakes or trying things. The whole trial and error thing is massive when you become an entrepreneur. And I decided to give the community free access to live Q&A sessions, resources, group chat, lots of different things that you can get, templates to support you with podcasting. And I have had it open for several months now, and there are lots of people in the community, but the engagement hasn't been great because I don't know why the engagement is not great, but one of the reasons that I think the engagement is not great is because it's free. And when you sometimes give away things for free as an entrepreneur, you don't always get that person's energy or investment in time or true value from them, because they are receiving something for free. And so I've made the decision now, and I've got the confidence to say, actually, do you know what? We are providing so much free value online through social media, through LinkedIn, through the podcast, through the live Q&As, that it's time to monetize the membership community. So as of next week, the membership community will now be monetized, and I'm very much looking forward to engaging with new members. And it's been really challenging to shift your mindset as a pharmacist who's generally normally always employed and has a set salary, to then switch to, well, how much am I worth? How much is my expertise worth? It's really been quite challenging to switch the way that my mentality works in terms of entrepreneurship. I'm not sure if you felt the same in your journey.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, you are worth, of course, and then that's why I said that we should be monetizing our services. But then, of course, there are tons of things that we have offered for free, like yourself. You've been doing podcasts for so long, and you have already offered a lot of free things to the community, which people have taken advantage of. Then they have used it, and they have learned great skills from that. Like, for example, if I become a member in your community when you start it next week, I will have lots of advantages of that membership. First thing is networking. I will be having a strong network of people that would be knowing me, directly and indirectly. Secondly, I can learn lots of things about podcasting and kind of like how to make money by being a pharmacist entrepreneur, and then third is that I can pass on that knowledge to other people who are struggling or who are not even thinking that they can use their skills to get to kind of get the salary or the rate that they want besides their 9 to 5 job. So for myself, these are just like some basic advantages that I can list why I need to be paying becoming a member of your community. So I think this is a great initiative, and we should be building communities and adding people with the same background and who want to learn more. We should be, I think we are responsible for giving them that value and the knowledge and the education that they need to use these tools, the social media and the digital world, the online world, to use for their advantage. So I think there is really a need of doing that, and not a lot of people are doing it.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you're 100% right that not a lot of people are doing it. I feel like through my LinkedIn, I'm now connected with so many people who are doing it that it feels like there's a lot of people doing it, but it's a really small percentage of the actual pharmacist population. But 4 years into the journey, I feel like I am finally, I'm gaining the confidence and the momentum to value myself in a way that allows me to kind of generate the monetization that I think I genuinely deserve now. And I'm just really looking forward to being able to provide education to other pharmacists who want to start a podcast. And I've already started coaching people one-on-one, and we are absolutely loving it. And even within the first session and within the first couple of weeks, my clients have made some incredible progress, and it just lights me up and makes me smile. And I'm also so excited that it allows me to build the pharmacy profession from an entrepreneurship point of view and help people to showcase their voice and their expertise too. It's awesome.
Yes, wonderful, Anisha, and I really support you on your mission because it really multiplies. I'm talking to one person, but then I'm also connecting with 10 other persons. And if I teach 10 people something, they can go on and teach 100 more people. So it really multiplies. And this is the power of social media now. This is the power of growth. And we should really be thinking about, how we can provide the most value to our audience or people looking to get information. And it could be a little bit of charge for that. But if they are serious, they can, I'm pretty sure they can learn a lot from Anisha. And on this note, I'd like to conclude our session today. And I'd like to say that this has definitely been one of my really good and wonderful sessions of our live podcasting, and I will be uploading this recording on my website, and we can use it for our social media as well, so more and more people can take advantage of this live session today.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me. I have really enjoyed having conversation with you again, and I'm very grateful for those who are listening live. Thank you so much for attending. I am so happy to have you here to hear my story, my voice, and my mission too.
Yes, thank you so much, Anisha, for joining and becoming a guest on my podcast and providing wonderful value to my audience. And Lucy, Japneet, Asad, people who have been listening live, thank you so much. And much more people are going to listen to it when we update the recorded version of it. So on this note, thank you so much, everybody, and have a great night and a wonderful week and weekend ahead. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.